Okay, so I'm going to do a quick video about what happened today. I'm just going to go over what happened with Jonathan and the chaos that started there. And then I will do a video later because I just have notes here just written on what to say about what happened with Jonathan, and that's just one minor part. So I got to the courthouse today and I was not feeling like scared today. Normally, I feel terrified before going to custody court with Judge or any court hearing with Judge Benoni. I get really scared, like really, really scared. Afraid she's going to put me in jail, anything. So, anyways, I was not scared. I was feeling confident today, or more confident than usual. And I'm in the bathroom at court. I had arrived around, I don't know, a little bit before 10. My hearing was at 10:30, and Jonathan, my therapist, texts me, and he says Judge Benoni has called Steve, which Steve is the owner of this huge Grace Wellness Center, which is the biggest counseling center in Westmoreland and Allegheny County in the Pittsburgh area. It's the biggest Christian counseling center. It's very popular, very well known. She calls Steve and I guess is yelling and carrying on that Jonathan has not followed a court order, and she is threatening to have sheriffs come out after Jonathan, okay? So Jonathan did follow the court order and he did write the letter for me, and it does not state, which I will post the court order in the comments here. The court order did not state for Jonathan to, I just remembered something else, for Jonathan to mail the court order in. It did not state to the courts. It didn't say that. It didn't say that. So he just gave me the letter, which is what we have done for every court hearing with Jonathan. And last time I didn't have my letter, long story short, the only time that happened. But I didn't have my letter last time, and she wasn't calling 30 minutes before court last time asking where the letter was. Why is she deciding to do that today and taking it to the extreme? I mean, she knew I was bringing it, is what I'm saying. That's what I've done every time, and the order did not state otherwise. And the therapist or the supervisor, Rebecca, she didn't do her report till late last night. The last time she did it right before we walked into court that morning. So, yeah. And that wasn't an issue. There was no sheriffs threatened to be called then. So Jonathan texts me this, and then he calls me and he was like, what is this judge's problem? And, Jonathan is like a really, really nice guy. He doesn't like problems or drama. He's whatever. He's just a very nice, normal Christian man. And he was just like, I can't believe this judge is doing this. I can't believe she called Steve. Like, what's the problem? So I explained, like, I don't know what the problem is. Court doesn't start for another 30 minutes. I'm here. I have your letter. I'm going to present it to the court. Like, I've done every time, just brought the letter to court that you've written. And so he's like, what should I do? Should I, Steve's saying, should I call her and talk to Judge Benoni again, or should Steve call her or should I call her? I'm like, I don't really care. Probably somebody should call her. And, so Jonathan calls her, and she's, at this point, then the bailiff comes out and and I'm on the phone with Jonathan, and the bailiff is actually following me around, listening to my conversation. And then so Jonathan calls, and then the bailiff comes out and says, we're going to delay court a few minutes. So then Jonathan calls me back and he says, I just talked to Judge Benoni's friend, he said, and he said that she, feels like you're a flight risk, that you're unstable because of these YouTube videos that you did. And, I explained, which later she tried to tell me in court that Jonathan said that he did not see all the YouTube videos, which Jonathan did say that, which he wrote in his letter. And I was sending them all the videos as I was making them, as I was sending to a group of people. And he has seen all the videos. Well, now she's saying that she has to get detectives to burn a copy of my videos to give to Jonathan, even though he just said in the letter that he did watch the videos, but she's just not convinced that he did. So anyways, so Jonathan calls me before I go into the courtroom saying he had just talked to Judge Benoni's friend, So she feels like I'm a flight risk, like I'm going to take off. And he was like, well, let me just explain to you that, Jen does not want to get into any trouble. She understands that if she leaves with her children out of state, that she will eventually, be caught and go to jail and lose her kids again. And that's something that she's not going to do. And obviously, if I would have moved a long time ago. This relocation hearing has been going on for how long? A year and a half or longer, and I have never moved yet, even when I thought I could move. Anyways, okay. So, other than when I had to move for a few months to get on my feet, and I was still trying to get moved back, and that was completely denied in June, even though my attorney said that they could do that for me. Okay, so sheriff following me around. So then I gave Eric, here's your letter, my letter from Jonathan at one point. Okay, so I'm on the phone with Jonathan. So what else are her concerns? Her other concerns, according to Judge Benoni's friend, which Judge Benoni denied saying this, was have to do with the strangulation. So I said in court, it's never been mentioned once about the strangulation. I had my kids for an entire year after the strangulation charges. I have a protection from abuse order against this man. And she's like, I never said that. And I was not going to bring it up that Jonathan had just told me. She said, I never mentioned that. And it hadn't been mentioned, but since that was one of the concerns that was just brand new to me hearing that, then I had to say something. And then what was her other concern was that I'm jumping around to all these attorneys, and she thinks that seems crazy that I just keep getting all these attorneys. And he said, I explained to her that I know the reason why you're getting all these attorneys is because you cannot afford these attorneys and you can't afford to keep paying them. And so then I brought that up in court too, that I can't afford to keep paying these attorneys, and that is why. And why would I keep paying these attorneys to lose and not get me anything, not divorce, no progress, nothing? Why I keep paying for that? I cannot afford it. I've been a stay-at-home mom for all these years and put my career on hold to walk away with nothing. It's not right. So anyways, I am going to reapply for my spousal support. That's another part of today's thing, which she denied me. You may have remembered a video I did. I reapplied for my spousal support the day after I got out of jail, and there was a note in there saying she would not allow me to get spousal support again, and they even called and asked her chambers. And anyway, she denied all of that. She said that is not true, that she never denied me getting spousal support, and that no one ever called her, and she never put a note in there. But obviously, if that was not the case, then I would have filed for spousal support. So anyways, I'm going to be reapplying for that. And he tried to say that I banged up the house, which I said I have proof that, which this is what she told to Jonathan, which again has never once been mentioned ever in court, ever to this day. And which was mentioned, they probably only know this because me and Gino were arguing on the Wizard about all this shit with the house at one point in time. Or me and Melissa, I'm not sure who I was talking to. And I said, Gino has has physically destroyed our home through the years, and I have tons of pictures through the years to prove that, as well as physically abused me, and I have pictures to prove that as well. So, and then she starts saying that she never said anything about the house. That was never mentioned. So even though Jonathan just told me right before I went into court that she said that, I know he's not lying, but again, I did not say, well, Jonathan told me. I just ignored that. So I think that's it with Jonathan. The whole thing was a mess. She's not going to give me my kids back. He can give my kids back. At one point, I was saying, Gino, please give me my kids back. Give them back. I'm like, he can agree. They're not going to agree with custody. This is going to keep Eric D getting paid for a long time and Gino controlling my life for a long time. All my attorneys and other people that I've met are right that she will do these custody reviews for years, keeping good moms from their kids. And as I told her today, there's no legal reason for you to take my children, and she agrees. And basically at this point, to get them back, I need to take this to Supreme Court, and I need to have a trial to do that. And she said, if you ask for a trial today, then you're not going to be able to see them for months. She said, all of this is stemming from a relocation hearing, and you said that you're no longer moving or trying to relocate, so that order no longer stands. I don't even know what order she's trying to, I think she's just lying, because there's just so many lies. It's unreal. And I and just yelled at, and just like how I said she yelled at Jonathan and was carrying on, and this is how I'm talked to in court, and just bullied, just like those messages from Melissa today. It's 1,000 times worse with how Judge Benoni treats me in court. And she said she's going to get a guardian ad litem, which is great, but that should have been done a long time ago, and this is just going to prolong it. But she was saying it as a threat to me, like, and she's going to come check out where you live and make sure it's fit for the kids to whatever. And I'm like, okay, great, get one. Well, and then Eric, I mean, basically, it was just a mess today. I will talk more about it later. Oh, and she said that my last attorneys never filed a contempt motion against him about the vaccines, which we did discuss, and she did seem slightly concerned about my kids being vaccinated, and we had a discussion about that, and she said the contempt motion was never filed. I'm like, yes, it was, and I brought it up in my email and even showed a signed copy from her saying that she agreed to hear this contempt motion and the special relief motion, which would be $1,000 to pay for the contempt motion that I had to pay then since it wasn't heard. So it's illegal to agree to hear a motion and then just not hear it. And that's what happened. And she says that's a lie, and that my attorneys never filed it, and that my problem is with my attorney, not her. But however, I was able to prove and pull up the papers, like this paper is signed by you saying you did approve it the day before we went to court for the custody review. Anyways, a bunch of that stuff going on. So I'm she told me to go ahead and file another motion for contempt about the vaccines and whatever else I want to add, because the motion was 25 pages long and more things I could add since, but mainly, the vaccines are my issue, other than not having my children, of course, but as far as filing a contempt motion. So I still have to do the drop off, pay to drop them off, or pay to pick them up, pay to drop them off. It'll be like a little mini supervised thing that she'll do with my kids or something. And that drop off, which is just going to be Target and Giant Eagle. And then I'll leave with them for 6 hours, and then I'll come back, or 6 hours. So I'll get 6 hours with them. So I'm absolutely delirious. I'm so tired right now, and just this has been such a day. So Melissa is reacting to me getting 6 hours a week with my children and being able to come to sports. So now she's answering the phone and flying off on text messages to me. So basically, I need to make the decision: do I keep doing this to where she may keep my kids? And she even said she doesn't know if she's ever going to give them back, and I don't know what to do. And she said if we go to Supreme Court, they're going to find this abusive and oppressive to my children and myself. And she's like, okay. She's like, well, if you go to Supreme Court, you're not going to see your kids for several months until you get there. And right now, I don't have an attorney, and so I have to make a decision. So at least I'm like, okay, at least I'll get my kids by myself for 6 hours this week. And that's more important than losing right now and not being able to do jack shit because I don't have any direction or money. So the next goal, I guess, will be to move unless I decide in 60 days, depending on how the next custody review goes, that I need to file for a trial and then lose and get this to Supreme Court. If I'm able to do that, then I just don't know.